assembles a multitude of spectators and competitors. Throughout the year, they have anxiously awaited such athletic affairs. For now, their main interest is in gymnastics.
Yeah, you can be the greatest, you can be the best, you can be the King Kong banging on your chest.
You can beat the world, you can beat the war, you can talk to God, go banging on his door.
You can throw your hands up, you can beat the clock, you can move a mountain, you can break rocks.
You can be a master, don't wait for luck. Dedicate yourself and you gon' find yourself
Standing in the Hall of Fame,
yeah,
and the world's gonna know your name,
yeah,
'cause you burn with the brightest flame,
yeah.
and the world's gonna know your name.
Hello, I'm here at Indiana Lake Gymnastics interviewing.
Christopher,
Where are you from, Christopher?
Guatemala.
And why did you come here?
Why? I come in to try the go gymnastics.
Were you a former gymnast before you came here?
Yes, I practiced gymnastics almost all my life. I was in the national team in my country. I practiced gymnastics like, I don't remember, probably like 25 years. And after I have accident, I broke my leg and stopped.
How did your love for gymnastics start when you started training?
I don't remember. I was really young when I started practicing gymnastics, probably like 5-6 years. The first years probably I don't enjoy too much practicing gymnastics because that was hard for me. I was in one group that tried to go to the Olympic Games, so the practice is really hard. So the Olympic Games, I think, so that was the Athens. I don't know if I say right. Athens, 2000. Yeah, after that games, the Olympic Games, I want to try to go to the Olympic Games. So that was my goal, but I never make it. I was really close, but I was like closer, but a couple of stuff happened in my life, and I don't get it.
So, do you miss gymnastics?
I still miss gymnastics, yeah. A lot.
The hardest part of coaching for you?
Well, everything is like a challenge for me. Try to teaching here with the attitudes.
How long have you been coaching?
Here or
Just in general.
probably like 15-16 years.
Do you
I
enjoy
start-
coaching?
How did gymnastics influence the person you are today?
Well, gymnastics influencing everything. I don't know nothing more, just gymnastics. I started, like I told you, I started like 5 years old practicing gymnastics. So all my words about gymnastics. So yeah, give me the discipline, and thanks to the gymnastics, I am here in this country. Try the teaching gymnastics. We try to make better persons and better gymnasts, of course, but influencing everything.
What is your name?
My name is Aviana
Widener.
I'm Alexandra Schaefer.
What level do you do?
I just completed level 8, but I'm training level 9, which I'm pretty close to.
How long have you been training for?
Not very long, actually. I started when I was 9 years old, and that is pretty late for gymnastics.
Well, I did gymnastics ever since I was 2, and I quit when I was 16, so 14 years.
I've only been doing gymnastics probably 6-7 years. What is the hardest part of gymnastics? Definitely the mental aspect.
Like the mental aspect of it all, like it's a lot of time commitment also.
A lot of people think, oh wow, she can do these skills, but it's really not the hard part. Whether it's body image, fighting yourself, having to do with mental blocks, which is a whole another thing, gymnastics is very hard mentally.
Just knowing you have to go into the gym every single day, like 4 hours, 6 days a week, like that's a lot on a person on top of school, your social life. It's really challenging just to like put yourself out there. And then also can really affect your body image. Like I kind of struggled with coaches not believing I can do things just because of my height.
There are a lot of sacrifices when it comes to gymnastics, whether it's the food you eat, the sleep you get, your schoolwork, your school grades, your relationships with your family, your friends. But for me, the sacrifice is worth it. And that is one of the hardest parts, is the sacrifice. But for me, it is all worth it.
I loved all of it, but then again, that love sometimes isn't enough.
What is the best part?
The best part was definitely the feeling of flying.
The best part is the reward, not the trophies, nothing like that, but all the work you put into it and seeing your progress.
The feeling of just being able to do those like things. Like most people can't get up on a beam and do a back tuck on like a 3-4 inch piece of wood. The friendships I made on the way is definitely one of the better parts of gymnastics. Like it definitely created a sister bond.
What coach has impacted you the most and why?
All of my coaches have helped me, definitely, but I pretty much did not take my gymnastics career seriously until my coach Christopher came. He's probably had the biggest impact on me. He's inspired me. He's made me work past my limits and has actually believed in me probably the most out of all my coaches. Don't get me wrong, he's a great coach, but we also do fight a lot.
Why you do drama right there? Why you landing with your butt? Why? Squeeze something. That's not what you attitude.
You started mine. I didn't start anything. You started something.
I do the same.
I'm back. Hey,
Look for the camera and letting us stand right.
But yeah.
What challenges has gymnastics caused in your outside life?
I don't have time for anything. Like this documentary.
It definitely affected a lot of my friendships.
You don't really have time, I guess, for everything. Homework is hard to do.
It was hard to keep friends and make new ones because I didn't have the time to. But again, I also made amazing friendships within the gym that I still have today.
Your outside life is going to depend on gymnastics. Gymnastics has to become your life if you want to do the sport. What made you fall in love with gymnastics?
All of it, like the feeling of like the family I had, the feeling of doing gymnastics. When I was little, I always just saw like I'd be watching the Olympics and I think, oh my gosh, that is so cool. Like I want to be there one day.
Gymnastics is probably the hardest sport, and I mean this very seriously. The dedication you have, I guess, makes gymnastics the hardest. Gymnastics is all about like self-discipline too, and I think it's very rewarding. It's a very rewarding sport.
Just watching it on TV definitely like fueled like my desire to do it.
As it inspired me for gymnastics, I feel like every gymnast looks up to the big girls, which are just the biggest level, and I always looked up to them. But the person who made me fall in love with gymnastics and want to be my best self is Sarah Mella. She just graduated last year, but she showed me what I could do, and she always pushed me, even if I was being stubborn about skills or coaches. She always pushed me to be my best. I grew really close with her, which sucked when she left because my gymnastics wasn't as good when she left.
How has it affected you mentally?
Like I said before, it's my body image. I mean, I beat myself up about it. How I do in my sport is how I feel about everything. It affects my mood, my mental stage, I don't know.
Well, definitely affected my eating. Your body starts changing, and when your body starts changing, your gymnastics changes. Like, I wouldn't like eat as much because I would want to like make myself lighter, or if I would eat, I would do things to make it go away. And getting over that like took a lot. Like sometimes I'll even be like, it's like fine, like you can eat whatever you want now. And especially like coaches telling you like what you can and cannot eat. That also, I had a few coaches before I came to Lisa's that would definitely like try to control like what we ate and like feel bad about ourselves. The feeling of not being good enough definitely affected me. Like if I wouldn't throw like a skill because of a mental block, like I would just feel like useless in life. Like I don't know if this is a normal response to stuff.
Mentally with gymnastics, body image being a part of that, it is really hard, especially the girls that have bigger bodies, like bigger thighs, stuff like that. You're always told, not even in a rude way, but when you have to do this, you have to eat this, you have to work out this, or else you're not gonna be good at this event. I was always told that bars wasn't gonna be my best event because I was bigger. And by bigger, I mean bigger thighs. Like if you're not skinny, coaches don't think you can do gymnastics as well as the other girls. So growing up, that's a lot for a little girl because you do things to lose weight and the coaches tell you that you need to be like this, but you don't know how to get there because you're little. You don't know how to get there, so you do unhealthy things. So I think negatively, that's the worst thing about gymnastics. Why did you quit gymnastics?
I quit for many different reasons, but as I got older, I just knew that I wasn't going to the Olympics. I wasn't going to a D1 school for gymnastics. It just wasn't really, I enjoyed it, but it wasn't something I was willing to put in that much commitment to. Why do you keep choosing to do gymnastics?
Obviously, like I said, the reward, but my team, I'm nothing without my team. My team understands me in a way my mom, my sister, my family, my other friends could never understand. My team pushes me and they keep me stable and sane in this gym.
What do you think is the hardest part about being a gymnast?
I think the hardest part is the mean coaches.
I think the hardest part would be the strict training schedule.
Body positivity.
Learning new skills, and it's time consuming.
I think the hardest part is probably balancing all the time in the gym with the life and school and homework.
The hardest part has to be chafing and when you land on your feet.
Obviously the hardest part is probably all the eating disorders that people develop.
I would have to guess that the most difficult part about being a gymnast would be working on your flexibility and forcing yourself to stretch every single day.
I think the hardest part of gymnastics is the coaches being hard on you.
I think the hardest part of gymnastics was the mental aspect of it, because in gymnastics you have to be a perfectionist and there's a lot of pressure involved, and I just think that it was a very hard sport.
The hardest part about being a gymnast is the mentality, period. It is so hard having a positive mentality when something goes wrong.
Hi, I think the hardest part about gymnastics is the mental part, because you can develop fears and mental blocks, and that can stop you from moving forward in your gymnastics.
I think the hardest part about being a gymnast is staying motivated after underperforming at a meet. So gymnasts put in so much time to practices. The practices are long and they're often. So when meets come around, which is not super often, it puts a lot of pressure on the gymnast to do perfect, because you only have one shot to impress the judges and execute your routine perfectly. And if that doesn't happen, it feels like all the time you sacrificed into practices and you missed out on other things was for nothing. And it's hard to keep being motivated after that.
The hardest part about being a gymnast for me was definitely the physical toll it took on my body. Since I have quit for over a year now, I've visited probably at least 10, probably 20 doctor's visits, gotten my blood drawn multiple times because of the toll that it took, and now in the recovery aspect of it, I still am having issues with it.
I think the hardest part about being a gymnast is learning how to trust your body and what it's capable of. A lot of mental blocks come from not trusting your body or your capabilities as a gymnast.
I think the hardest part of being a gymnast is the mentality you have to have. You have to constantly be in your head telling yourself you have to go to practice the next day, and your body's going to be in pain, and even though that's physical, it's still, you have to be mentally prepared for that, and you have to have good work ethic, so you're a good gymnast and do what you need to do. But that's all in your head. So in order to do anything with the sport, it's all going to be mental. So the most challenging thing is having a good mentality. So you were a part of Wheeler High School's first ever gymnastics team. Can you just tell me a little bit about that?
It was a pretty fun experience. It's different from regular USAG gymnastics. I had a lot of fun with my team. We did pretty well. We kind of messed up at sectionals, which screwed our regional chances up, but Sarah did really well and she even made it to state. I think I'm going to plan on coming back maybe in the next 2 years, but yeah.
It was a pretty good experience. It definitely opened me up to different forms of gymnastics. Like USAG gymnastics is very just like nitty gritty. Like you have these routines, you have to do them this way, your legs have to be perfectly tight, like you have to do everything like almost to perfection. Whereas high school gymnastics is almost like the amount of skills you can get, and like obviously like they want you to perform them well, but I definitely don't think like the elegance aspect that USAG has is in high school gymnastics. Like they more want you to like have the bigger skill.